Once again, my favorite racing game of 2020 has pulled me in for another challenge. What the fuck is that shit on screen? I'm talking about the best cyberpunk game of 20... Oh, Jesus Christ. Ghostrunner, motherfucker. Ghostrunner. This update actually caught me by surprise, and if the previous killruns update was anything to go by, well, let's just say that my PP got hard when I opened Steam today. This time around, a new wave mode was introduced, along with some paid cosmetics that I didn't buy them. I don't know how cool they look, and I don't care. The new mode is focused on combat, consisting of 20 waves of randomized enemies with custom upgrades that you pick up in between rounds. In case it wasn't clear, this new mode is completely free. And before we get into it, I'm just gonna rip off the band-aid right here, right now. I didn't like it. The new mode doesn't affect the rest of the game whatsoever, like in any way. So you cannot really complain too much about it. It's just an extra thing that got added for free. But having said that, I would like to talk to you about why I believe this game mode, as it stands right now, just doesn't click, and how I think it could be improved, even if I find a combat focused mode not that interesting compared to something like killruns, which are probably my favorite part of the game right now, because they focus on what this game does best, which is movement and speed and memorizing a level and running through it as fast as possible. Maybe you didn't know, but Ghostrunner sequel is currently in the works. I'm so looking forward to that. So if this is a way for the devs to test out some ideas they have for the sequel, then hopefully this feedback is useful. Although, to be completely honest, who the hell is watching this video anyways? So how does a new wave mode work? The first thing we see when jumping into a new game is the upgrades screen. Here we can choose an upgrade among 3 different options, which we get to keep for the whole run. Upgrades may be a passive skill, an active skill, or an uplink power-up that will appear in the next wave. Some of these upgrades are not from the main game, like for example, there's this upgrade that lets you cut through warden enemies. You know, the ninjas with swords that you need to parry in order to lower their guard. Yeah, imagine if you could just cut through all of that without having to wait for the AI to attack you first. Pretty damn cool. This system right here, the upgrade system, this is the best part of the mode. But that is honestly not saying much at all. Right after choosing our upgrade, we spawn into the arena, where we need to kill all enemies. So we do that, wave 1 is done, choose another upgrade, spawn into wave 2, repeat 20 times, and you win. Of course, each wave gets a little harder, but you also get more powerful. Dying is not a big deal, the wave just restarts, and you get as many tries as you need. Which is kind of weird since the devs refer to this mode as a roguelike, and in roguelikes, death is supposed to be punished hard. Not that I think you should start back at wave 1 if you die, by the way. That will make it literally impossible to get to wave 20. If you play the campaign, you know how hard it is to not get hit once. But what if there was some sort of life limit? Like you get 3 tries per wave, and if you die 3 times, you are out. If you beat the wave, you get all 3 lives back, possibly rising the maximum through upgrades. Alright, the arena. There is a single arena that doesn't change throughout the run. So, who decided to make the level based on the cyber void? What the hell? You don't see shit! This game is extremely fast, and especially in combat, it's hard to identify all enemies because you're just turning around and moving so fast. The cyber void tileset is probably the worst choice for a combat-only arena. It's so hard to distinguish the enemies from the background or what type of enemy you're actually looking at, even with the red outlines. Particle effects, projectiles, attack telegraphs. It's just so hard to see all of this. There is a reason why the main campaign doesn't include any cyber void combat outside of simple skill tutorials. It's like they wanted to make a red, blue and orange version of the game, like only those colors are allowed, but it just doesn't work. It's too confusing. If you wanted to include only one arena, why not literally any other tile set? I'm actually so mad about this, because I could feel myself getting tired of the Cyber Void while playing. I barely made it to wave 20. Another problem, the arena doesn't change. Architecture wise, I mean. And that would be okay if it was more interesting. I get that this mode is focused on combat first and movement second. But that doesn't mean that the arena has to be this open area with a ground level and 4 cubes. Because that's what it is. It's a ground level and then 4 cubes that give us a high ground. And a bunch of grapple points. It's not just boring and interesting to traverse, but if you play this game, you know that super open areas for combat are a bit of a nightmare. Because keeping track of enemies that are shooting at you from the opposite side of the arena is kinda hard and annoying. And yeah, usually if you keep moving you should be fine, but that's not really how it goes most of the time. Sometimes you just rely on getting lucky, and that's not ideal. It's crazy to me how they could have just reused campaign arenas and the result would have been better. Like there are multiple campaign encounters where the fights are actually interesting. In part because the level itself allows for either more creativity, more positioning options, more verticality, etc. I would definitely like to see at least a few more arenas thrown into the mix, each with their own architecture and possibly even some randomization in the terrain, which will also play into the unique runs concept. So, jumping into combat, Ghostrunner's strength is again movement, not combat. A Ghostrunner level is like a race. Combat encounters are an obstacle you need to get through to continue running. Making a game mode that is just combat turns the game into an obstacle fiesta, not a race. Imagine a hurdles race. Okay, now take away the track and keep only the hurdle. Holy shit. This example is so stupid! But it's true though, it's true. You know what I mean? A race with obstacles makes sense. Just obstacles doesn't. So how do we turn combat into something of its own? Because there are other games out there where I will gladly play a horde mode. Doom Eternal horde mode when? Please, I need it really bad. Well, here's where we get to the point where I really don't think it makes any sense for me to talk about how to make Ghostrunner's combat quote unquote better or good. First, because Ghostrunner combat is already fucking great and gets the job more than done. Yeah, any skill besides Tempest is completely irrelevant, so what? Second, because I am not a dev and have no fucking clue what I'm talking about. And third, because again, this is just a secondary, small game mode that they put out with an update an year after the game's original release, and it also doesn't change the original content in any way. On top of that, I'm sure they are tweaking and improving combat for Ghostrunner 2 or whatever the sequel ends up being called, which if they do work on combat a little more, I definitely see a horde mode working pretty well. So, summing up, things I would like to see in the current implementation of the mode. A more in-depth life system to get the real feeling of a roguelike experience and actually have a failure state, which will also give meaning to different runs. In roguelikes, it's so cool when you get that dream run where the stars align and your character becomes a literal god, and then you mess up and die and need to start again. I like that. Games like Risk of Rain or Hades are really good at this. Of course, that's the whole point of those games, which is not the case here. Another thing is more arenas with different and hopefully more interesting architectures. Also different tile sets, and honestly, I know it's not just a copy-paste type of deal, I know it's harder than that, but reusing the campaign areas will be fucking sick. Replayability for a mode like this is key, and I feel like right now there is no replayability incentive on the gameplay side of it. I'm not talking about rewards, I don't need rewards to have fun, just more fun gameplay basically. And on a personal note, I would much rather get more killruns levels or some crazy mode where killruns are procedurally generated somehow. I know that is no easy task, but play to your strength, and for Ghostrunner, movement is what it's at. Thank you for watching, excited to see what's next for Ghostrunner. Leave your thoughts in the comments. Did you like the new mode, or maybe do you prefer killruns? Anyways, see you soon, goodbye.